film from 1968 shows glimpses of protest.
They were burning draft cards.
Demonstrations surrounding the war in Vietnam, and on November 21st of that year, President Lyndon Johnson was in the White House. And a Milwaukee trio was in custody. The newspaper called it a slaying. Then 18-year-old Melvitine Lampkins and two others played a part in a grocery store robbery. The article described gun whipping and shots fired. One man apparently did not move fast enough for the robbers.
Took a sawed-off shotgun and shot him in the chest.
Who shoots a 78-year-old man in a grocery store?
It was point-blank range. He put the shotgun right to his chest and pulled the trigger.
78-year-old John Adornato was shopping with his wife.
He was a gentle soul. He was a lover of people.
He was rushed from the area of Buffalo Center to a hospital. The intern at the emergency room knew there was nothing he could do, and that intern just happened to be one of Adornato's 11 grandchildren.
It took us by such shock.
Another of his grandchildren, Celia Dodge, describes the impact of the murder.
It devastated them. It really did. It broke the family apart.
The robbers were caught and convicted of the crime, including Melvitine Lampkins.
She was the lookout for the robbery.
Michelle Herrings of the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force says Lampkins was sentenced to life in prison plus 60 years, but was given the chance to attend school during that time. Lampkins took advantage of the opportunity, and Herrings says she escaped in 1976 and somehow managed to escape again in 1979.
Her whereabouts and activities have been unknown since.
How could someone be missing out of a jail cell, out of a prison for 30 years?
Yes, I think they deserve an explanation.
I'd like to point a finger. I wouldn't know where to start.
A crime taking place during a time of unrest and conflict. The fugitive bringing additional unrest to a family decades later.
I was walking home from Summerfest.
July 6th of last year, a UWM student and his then girlfriend were approached from behind near the intersection of Holton and Center.
By a man in a mask asking for my wallet. I was kind of in shock at the time, just said, "What?"
Police reports say the man grabbed the pocket of Sam Took.
I was a victim in an attempted robbery, and I mean, when it happened, obviously I was scared.
Took says the man saw a squad car and ran off, disappearing into a neighboring yard. The case would reappear in headlines more than a year later. The suspect was 22-year-old Derek Williams, seen taking some of his final breaths inside a Milwaukee police squad car. His gasps for help ignored by officers believing he was faking. He later died from complications from sickle cell. The manner of death, once called natural causes, was recently changed to homicide by medical examiners.
Seeing the video, it was sickening really watching it. I mean, it's just sad really.
Until the police video was released, Took never got a glimpse of what happened after Williams ran off. He says he appreciates the quick police response preventing the robbery.
At the end of the day, they could have possibly saved my life.
While Took is called a victim in the police report, he offers sympathy for the man accused of trying to rob him, labeled a suspect.
He was definitely a victim too. I think watching what I saw, it seems that he needed help and he didn't get it. So I think he would be a victim also.
In an exclusive interview, Milwaukee Police Chief Ed Flynn told Fox 6 his officers should have responded more quickly to Williams' health concerns. He added police procedures have already been changed following the reopening of this case.
One domino splits off into several.
Imagine each domino represents a message. Place one down, only to have it become two.
And it goes from 2 to 400 in a very big hurry.
A virus is a very good analogy. Viruses spread, they can spread very quickly.
But what if each of these dominoes was actually a nude picture?
It's absolutely out of control.
Copied and forwarded with a velocity barely bound by gravity. Porn propagated by the speed of cell phone messaging.
She is currently being charged with a Class I felony.
This man has a 13-year-old daughter. To protect her identity, we're not identifying him. The teen is accused of sending nude and semi-nude pictures of herself to her boyfriend.
It was an act to show him that she cared.
But like most sexting cases, the images sent from a cell phone didn't stay private.
We made the decision as a family to take her to the police, and we turned her in.
Is that the hardest thing you've ever had to do?
Yes.
When images of children under 18 get forwarded around, each of those people that knowingly possesses that is potentially guilty of possession of child pornography.
Waukesha County District Attorney Brad Schimmel is not involved in this girl's case, but his office is considering charges in another sexting incident where a picture was forwarded or shared with about 150 cell phones. With only a few buttons pressed, every cell phone owner could end up sharing a criminal record.
If it is a person over 18, it's a higher level felony, up to 25 years of incarceration for one image. And we could charge for each individual image.
Let some of these kids try to get into a good school or get a good job with that kind of baggage. It's not going to happen.
Investigators like Special Agent Eric Zetkowski of the Wisconsin Department of Justice are seeing an alarming increase in the crime.
Now it has reached an epidemic.
His first concern is for the victim. His next worry is if the cell phone image finds its way onto the internet. Adding those pictures can be found online.
Forever.
We're going to exercise judgment and try to look at the intent.
Meantime, prosecutors like Schimmel find themselves evaluating if a case of sexting is the result of a juvenile impulse or a deviant criminal act. The difference can be subtle. The charging decision he calls unique to each individual case.
I can tell you this, the person that is responsible for the initial distribution of the image is probably going to have a big problem.
In this 13-year-old situation, there is a way to avoid a juvenile record and sex offender label. Her father says if she never takes part in sexting again and stays on the right side of the law for 6 months, prosecutors will drop the charge. As for the boys who received her images,
The further out you get as the dominoes spread, probably the less exposure to criminal responsibility.
it's unclear what, if any, charges they face for possessing pictures that could topple a teen's future.
It's absolutely out of control. It's going to get worse.
When do the dominoes stop falling?
Hopefully before my kids get to be teenagers.